Hey everyone, it's Neil Patel, and today's another day of CRO Unlocked, where we go over how you can improve your conversion rates. This lesson is on best practices part 2. If you missed best practices part 1, go to neilpatel.com/training and click on CRO Unlocked, and there you'll find an introduction video as well as best practices part 1. Today, we're going to be breaking down how to use Crazy Egg to increase your conversion rate. So just a quick overview, you can monitor visitor interactions through different software. With Crazy Egg, you can create a snapshot of your page, and as your page changes, you can see how visitors interact with different variations of your site so you can improve your conversion rates and get a better understanding how people truly interact with your website. So how do you use snapshots? Well, you can choose a variety of advanced choices while making a snapshot. You can pick the system form to monitor, let's say, desktop, mobile, or even tablet. You can determine the expiration time of when you want to stop tracking. And this will give you all example and data on, all right, let's see how people interact on Mondays or throughout this week or throughout this specific promotion period like Black Friday. And that'll help you better understand, here's how people interact during these specific times. And snapshots are really important because as you make changes, you can see again how visitor interactions change specifically on different devices, like if you do a redesign or a new landing page design. So that way you can see, your change, was it good overall or bad? And another element within Crazy Egg is heat maps. A heat map is something that shows you where people click and engage on your site. And I'll show you an example of this in a little bit on the next slide. And this tool helps you evaluate and analyze how people engage within your site. It's a graphical representation of all the places users clicked on your website, whether it's a link or a dead click, or they're just reading and they're clicking around on your text. You can see that all within a heat map. So here's an example of a heat map for mobile devices on the neilpatel.com website. Now, this data can help you better redesign your website, decrease your bounce rates, have less drop-offs, improve your overall user experience, so that way you can get more sales. And SEO is also encompassing user experience and how users interact with your site. Google wants to make sure that they're just not ranking sites that have more links or better on-page SEO, but they want to rank sites that have the best user experience as well. So how do you analyze heat maps? Well, we've covered a little bit, but some few tips for you. Make sure that your call to actions are being seen and they're being clicked on. If you're noticing that no one's really looking at them or clicking on them, you can change the placement. Place the content in the order of importance to your users. Just don't place content however you want. If certain parts of your content are more important than others, make sure they're placed in the right areas where people see them. And track what's going on behind pop-ups or forms or login screens as well. So that way you can optimize the whole experience instead of just a little bit of it. And set up a conversion process or pages for success so that way you can truly win. I have a workbook for you. You can find it at neilpatel.com/training. Click on CRO Unlocked, week 1. It's the second lesson in there. And there's a guide on heat mapping. I want you to download it. It'll help you understand how you can analyze heat maps, run them, so that way you can get the most out of your website. Then there's a scroll map within Crazy Egg. And a scroll map is what it sounds like. It shows you what percentage of your users scroll where. And it's not what you always think. People always say, oh, people just don't scroll down and they just view the top part. Well, sometimes they actually view parts in the middle more than they do at the top, because it's not just how long they're scrolling, it's also how much attention they're putting on those elements. And the scroll map tracks all of that. So it'll give you an idea of where you need to place your most important elements. In essence, what are the hottest elements on your web page and what do you need to be placing in there? And that's what a scroll map can help you with. With Crazy Egg, you can easily see what aspects of your website are distracting users versus which ones are causing them to drive more revenue and sales or leads for you. You can see how individuals are directed by different campaigns to your website and how they act based on those campaigns. You can see whether it's from paid ads or email or SEO. You can segment all your traffic within Crazy Egg and see how different audiences interact with your web pages differently. So then you can create different experiences for, let's say, the paid users versus the organic users. And here's an example of scroll depth. The most viewed section of a page is just above the fold at roughly 550 pixels with 80% viewership. Most visitors scroll before the page loads completely, and the portion of the page just above the fold is nearly seen by all the visitors. Now, this doesn't mean that you should just put your call to actions above the fold, because sometimes you got to educate and get them a little bit more information before you try selling them on anything. You need to also look at the engagement across your whole site and your whole page, not just above the fold. For example, the engaged time, it peaks roughly just below the fold. That means a lot of people are spending a lot of their time scrolling and looking at the elements right underneath the fold. So you need to really pay attention to what you're putting right beneath the fold. And pixels at the top are viewed for about 4 seconds. The amount of viewing time increases to a peak by about 1,200 pixels down. In essence, the people who are scrolling more tend to be more engaged, and you need to figure out what elements you need to place within those peak elements so that way you can maximize your revenue. Then there's also the confetti and overlay reports in Crazy Egg. Confetti is just like it looks on the right side. It's all these dots in different colors, and the dots represent different traffic sources, and you can segment it. Heck, you can even segment it by day, by time, by weekend versus weekday, Bing versus Google. You can literally segment your traffic by all the different variations to see what you need to do to improve your conversion rates. Do people click on buttons, or are they clicking on elements that aren't really clickable and they're confused? These are all things that you can fix and tweak. The overlay on Crazy Egg, the cool part about that, and you just click on the little overlay button in the navigation, it shows you the exact number and the percentage of clicks to each and every single element. All you need to do is click the plus marker next to any clickable feature, and the way your guests view your website is generally different from how you expected it to be. So I recommend that you run an overlay report on Crazy Egg. My favorite part about the overlay is I can see the dead zones, the other clicks. These are the elements that they're clicking on that aren't really clickable that you need to fix so that way you have a better user experience. Almost every sites have these. Just as website owners and marketers, we tend not to think that people are clicking on them, but they really are. Then you have the list report. This just gives you a list of every single element in a tabulated format, so you can see a breakdown of what people are clicking and what they're not. Whether it's visible or not visible, you can see that within the list table, and you just look at the not visible or both or the visible, and I recommend that you check them all out. So again, that way you can figure out percentage wise what's getting a lot of clicks that's necessarily not visible that you need to fix and change, so that way you can improve the user experience. One of my favorite features of the list report is anytime that you click on a specific element in the list report, it actually brings up the overlay report so you know what it is and how people are engaging and using that specific element or clicking or experience on your site. You can also run tests with Crazy Egg. You can run a lot of A/B tests, and testing is a continuous process. You always need to iterate and improve. Testing is ideal method for assessing and iterating, so that way you can get early wins. Saves you both time and money. You don't want to just make tests based on what you think is going to win. You want to do it based on what the data is showing you, and we'll dive more into that next week when we go into the second week of CRO Unlocked. So if you're wondering how often you should run tests, well, it depends on your niche, your industry, and how many conversions you have. If you have a lot of conversions like I do, you can usually run 1 to 2 tests a week. If you don't, sometimes you may be able to run 1 or 2 tests a month. And again, it really depends on your niche as well as how many conversions you have. But don't worry about how often you can run tests, just more so run them. And if you do that, you'll continually improve your revenue over time. So how do you optimize your site over time? Again, you need to do tests and analyze your results. You need to feed data into Crazy Egg. You need to use data to drive growth. You need to drive more leads, sales, and customers. And you just go and try to sign up for Crazy Egg. They have a free trial, and go run a few tests. And it breaks down how to actually do this with the overlay and confetti, and just goes through it. It has a WYSIWYG that's really easy to use, and go through this onboarding process. It's, again, a free trial. And then you'll start collecting data so you know what you need to optimize. There's this thing that's also called heuristic analysis, where you think about how people are engaging with your overall site and what you need to do from a UX interaction design standpoint to improve everything. And it's the evolution of CRO, and that's where people are going. It's not just based on, oh, what button color should I use or what text. It's about how do you improve the experience for people. And if you do that, that's how you win in the long run. I also have a checklist for you. You can find it at neilpatel.com/training. Click on CRO Unlocked. It is under week 1. It's a second lesson under week 1, and you can find the checklist there. Make sure you download it. And you'll learn how to deal with web design, interaction, different elements, and unlock just a very usable workflow. If you have any questions, leave a comment below. If you want to email us, you can email us at support@neilpatel.com. If you just want my team to do all the CRO stuff for you, check out my ad agency, NP Digital, stands for Neil Patel Digital. And thank you for watching, and thank you for your time. I really look forward to helping you get more conversions from your site.